We'll open up this video with a message that the San Jose Sharks put on the Jumbotron at the SAP Center in the game against the Anaheim Ducks. Fans, unite. Celebrate. Keep the hockey energy kicking. Now imbibe generously. Honor the Sharks. Now this was a message that went viral on social media. Not because of its classic, archaic style and its wishes to go out there and get the fans to start drinking generously, but because if you read the first letter of every word, fans unite, celebrate, keep the hockey energy, kicking now, imbibe generously, honor the Sharks, it spells out something very, very bad. And it's probably something that I shouldn't say on here either, but you are all smart enough to go out there and realize it says F the Knights. And this was super well received because, hey, it's a game between San Jose and Anaheim. This isn't even a Vegas thing. This is just a random game between two California teams, but everybody who read it was going out there saying, yep, good job, San Jose, that's pretty funny. Let's talk about the Vegas Golden Knights because they are now officially eliminated. Let's talk about the Jack Eichel curse. Let's talk about the goaltending. Let's talk about Peter DeBoer. Let's talk about the team and their inefficiencies because this team was supposed to be good. Supposed to be, right? We had ourselves the ESPN voters at the beginning of the season, and out of the group of, I think it was like 15 people, only 2 said that Vegas would not be first in the Pacific Division. It's actually John Tortorella who came out here with the only correct prediction saying that Calgary would be number 1. But Vegas was supposed to be a slam dunk to make the Stanley Cup Playoffs. What happened? How did things go wrong? And who are the individuals responsible for this downfall? Now, I'll tell you one thing as to who is not responsible for the Vegas Golden Knights being as bad as they are. Goaltender Logan Thompson. This guy came into the season as an AHL goaltender. That's it. Because of the injuries sustained to Lehner, because of the trade to Marc-Andre Fleury, Thompson was thrusted into a position where a lot of people earlier on in the year would have said, hey, he's not ready to be a full-time NHL starter. But, lo and behold, after sustained exposure in the National Hockey League, after being forced to play because of the injuries, Logan Thompson was pretty good. And in fact, in the shootouts that he has played, he's played 3 straight shootouts so far, which is very strange to see. The fact that Vegas has gone through 3 straight shootouts, he stopped 14 out of 17 shooters. And that's really good. 14 divided by 17 means that Logan Thompson is letting in a shootout goal every 4-ish shooters, which is really good enough to win games, right? Especially at a position where Vegas is so tied up against the playoff race. They need these games. These are must-win games. They cannot afford to lose these games. But in this 17-player sample where Logan Thompson has gone out there and stopped 14 of 17 shooters in the last 3 games, the Vegas Golden Knights have scored 0 times in those attempts. Vegas, y'all crap the bed, and you let this guy hang out to dry in a position where I don't think anybody is comfortable to see it. You see him getting comforted by his teammates after these games. They're all hugging him. They're all supportive of him. And he looks just so devastated. Logan Thompson, dude. We talk all this smack about Vegas, how they treat their players poorly, how they're mismanaged and the cap is all over the place. And we talk about the fans and the annoying Twitter guy. Logan Thompson, you're free from any of this criticism. You did your part. It's just the team around you that has more to show and I think has more to give when it comes to shootouts and how they play. I mean, they played 3 straight overtime games too, right? If you get to a shootout 3 straight times, it means you didn't score in the 15 minutes of 5-on-5 that you were playing as well. Not to mention the fact that this game against the Chicago Blackhawks, part of the reason it even went to a shootout was because of Jack Eichel's beautiful no-look backhand pass where he was in his own corner and he sent it right up the boards, but just kidding, it's not up the boards, it's actually a little bit more towards the middle, where it's picked off by Caleb Jones, Seth Jones' brother. He walks right in, he shoots it, he scores it, and that was an important goal in the game because, I mean, it went to a shootout, so every goal is important here. Even the clip, oh my goodness, what a beautiful no-look pass from Jack Eichel. It has 3,000 likes on Twitter. People are jumping on the chance to dance on Vegas's grave. And you don't need me to tell you why. We talked about all this stuff in all the previous Vegas videos. The fact that they treat their goaltenders the way they do, the fact that Peter DeBoer has gone out there and started blasting goaltenders publicly in the media, the fact that there were a whole bunch of cap shenanigans going on, the fact that the team was really good right off the bat, which isn't really that legitimate of a reason, but then you have the fans that are as bratty as they can be regardless of that fact. Not everybody. I know there are some Vegas fans that are cool people and that watch these videos and say that they're embarrassed that the way their franchise is handling these organizational problems. You know, some of you guys are cool. Some of you. But there are indeed a high volume of Vegas fans that I have seen that have just been kind of annoying about this entire thing. Oh, it's so painful being a Vegas fan. Oh, look at this. Woe is me. And it's a combination of all this stuff, plus the annoying Twitter guy, that makes it easy to dance on their grave. Plus, you know, I love making videos about the Buffalo Sabres too. I talk about this team and their prospects and their future quite often on this channel. And therefore, we have a lot of Sabres fans that come over onto these videos and comment about everything that's going on. And now you take a look at Jack Eichel and the trade that sent him over to Vegas too, and you see what the Buffalo fanbase reaction has been to this entire thing. And it's not pulling any punches. So Jack Eichel, heading into this season, played 0 Stanley Cup playoff games in his entire career. Going over to Vegas, a lot of people thought, okay, well, Vegas is good enough to be number 1 in the Pacific, and they're adding on Jack Eichel, so Eichel is probably going to break that streak for next season, right? But that doesn't really look like it's going to be the case. They're already eliminated, and if you take a look at Vegas for next season, this is a team that does have some issues with the way they're going to have to go out there and re-sign their guys. They've got themselves, at the time of recording this audio, $0 in projected cap space for 2022-2023. That's a problem. And they still have to resign Janmark. They have a few other guys that are going to need money too. But the problem arises when you have some of the guys on the LTIR who are also expiring too. Riley Smith is making $5 million a year. He's expiring. You have Brett Howden, Nick Hague, Jake Bischoff, all these guys, while not making the highest amount of money in the world, added together provided a significant amount of cap relief for the LTIR Golden Knights and that situation there. This team is gonna have to do some maneuvering to make sure they stay under the cap for next season. And it's probably going to involve trading some of their other players that have been valuable to free up that money. Considering the fact that a lot of these guys do have no move clauses and no trade clauses, it's gonna make things pretty difficult, I feel. And so, for Vegas, that's a problem for next season. They have to go out there and make sure they have a roster that is compliant and that isn't... What is the current cap hit this team is at? They're at $92 million, so they're $10 million over the cap? Yeah. Oh boy, they still weren't able to win in 3 straight shootouts. Still were able to go out there and get 0 goals for their goaltender in shootouts. That is wild. That's nuts. How do you not score in 17 shootout attempts? I don't know if that's the exact number, something mathematics. Oh, other teams going out there. Logan Thompson was getting all of the comfort in the world because he deserves it. The guy absolutely did his part, and you could see Jack Eichel in some of these videos where he's comforting the goalie and he's the guy who's staying out there. He's making sure that the goaltender is feeling good, which is good, but then you see him turn around and there's like a little eye roll there. I don't know what that's about, but like that was a video that was also sort of going viral on Twitter as well. But everybody seems to have their eyes on Jack Eichel and the way that he has been progressing so far in Vegas. And even though he did produce, even though he did have a whole bunch of points and he was actually a good hockey player, the results, unfortunately, were the same. We made a video a few days ago talking about how Buffalo and Vegas have had similar records since Eichel made his debut with the team. Maybe it's a little bit better for Buffalo now because Vegas had lost a whole bunch in a shootout since that video's publication, but you still had Alex Tuch as well, who was also producing, not at the same extent as Eichel, but who was producing well enough alongside of the rest of the Sabres to have a positive impact. And you still have Sabres fans going out there talking about how Alex Tuch is a breath of fresh air and how he's good and how they really like him on their team, etc. Not to mention Peyton Krebs, not to mention the draft pick, not to mention all the stuff that the Vegas Golden Knights sent away in that trade as well. So, the Eichel curse, whether you want to say it's real or not, it makes for a funny narrative, which is why we're making this video here today. The Vegas Golden Knights are officially eliminated from the Stanley Cup Playoffs for the first time in their 5-year history. We're going to be looking forward to seeing where they go next season. Do they make the playoffs still? Do they go through some sort of a San Jose Sharks situation where they've got a lot of older guys that are aging and that are on big deals, and they're not able to transition the youth into the system properly because they don't have any prospects of significant value because they traded them all away? Let me know in the comments all your thoughts about the Vegas Golden Knights and this entire situation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.